broken arrival. The night was quiet. Only the soft sound of wind moved through the trees of the deep forest. Ryan Walker, a lonely mechanic who had moved away from the noisy city, was working on his old truck outside his cabin. His hands were covered in grease and the only light came from a hanging bulb swinging above. Then, boom! The ground shook. A flash of bright blue light lit the sky. A loud crash echoed through the valley like thunder. Ryan dropped his tools. What the hell was that? He grabbed his flashlight and rushed toward the sound. The trees grew thicker, and the ground was uneven. But then, as he reached a small clearing, he froze. A smoking metal pod was half buried in the dirt. It hissed like it was alive. Steam rose from it. One side of the pod had burst open, and lying in the mud, barely moving, was someone. She wasn't human. A woman, silver-skinned and glowing faintly in the dark. Her body was tall and slender, marked with strange bruises and glowing cuts. Her long white hair was tangled. Her breathing was heavy, like she had run for miles. Her eyes blinked, large, bright, alien. Her body shook. She tried to get up but collapsed again. Ryan stepped closer slowly. "Are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her lips moved but no sound came. Her eyes locked on him. There was pain, but also fear. Then, she pushed herself up with one shaking arm and spoke. "Please, kill me if you must, just don't send me back." Ryan's heart jumped. "I'm not gonna hurt you." She looked confused. Then her voice cracked again, full of desperation. "Take me, own me, make me yours. Before they come for me." Ryan stepped back. "What the hell are you talking about?" But she collapsed again, this time face first in the wet dirt. Ryan rushed forward. "Hey, stay with me." He checked her pulse. It was weak, but there. She was burning with fever. Her body had deep cuts, some metal-like pieces sticking from her skin like implants. He didn't know what she was, but he couldn't leave her here to die. He gently picked her up. She was surprisingly light, even though she looked strong. Her head leaned against his chest and she murmured something he couldn't understand. Back at the cabin, Ryan laid her on the couch and covered her with a blanket. He tried giving her water, and though she was barely conscious, she drank. He sat beside her, staring in shock, an alien, in his home, injured, scared, begging to be owned like property. What the hell had she been through? Hours passed. He stayed awake, watching over her. At one point, she opened her eyes again, her gaze softened. "You didn't bind me?" she whispered. "Bind you?" Ryan frowned. "I'm not a monster." She stared at the ceiling. That's what they said too, before the collar. Ryan's jaw clenched. Whoever had done this to her, they'd broken something inside. Suddenly she reached for his hand. He froze as her fingers touched his. "If you do not own me," she whispered, "I will have no name." Ryan looked into her glowing, tear-filled eyes. "I don't need to own you," he said firmly. "You're safe now, no one's gonna hurt you." Her lips trembled. "Then, what am I to you?" Ryan didn't answer. "Not yet." She closed her eyes. "If you let me sleep, I'll serve you when I wake. Just, please, don't throw me out." And just like that, she passed out again, tears still clinging to her cheeks. Ryan sat there in silence, heart heavy. He didn't understand what war she had fought or what hell she had escaped. But one thing was clear. She didn't need a master. She needed a reason to live. And maybe, just maybe, he was the first person to ever offer her one. Chains of her past morning light crept through the old cabin windows. Birds chirped outside, but inside the air was heavy, quiet, tense. Ryan sat on a chair, eyes fixed on the alien woman still lying on his couch. Her skin no longer glowed and her face looked peaceful. But she didn't move. She hadn't said a word since last night. He rubbed his face, still trying to believe this was real. An alien woman had crash-landed near his home, begged to be his slave, and collapsed in his arms. What kind of pain makes someone beg for chains? Suddenly her body stirred. She sat up fast, like a soldier trained for danger. Her hands glowed blue for a split second, but then dimmed. She scanned the room, breathing, heavy, ready to fight until her eyes locked onto Ryan. "You didn't tie me down?" she asked, confused. Ryan shook his head. "You were hurt. I helped. That's it." She looked down at herself, wrapped in a blanket. Her face twisted in shame. No collar, no restraints, no control? She whispered. "You're free," Ryan said. She blinked. Then something strange happened. She laughed. But it wasn't joy. It was a broken laugh. A sad, bitter sound. "Free?" she said again, like the word was poison in her mouth. She stood up, the blanket slipping off her shoulder. Scars lined her back. Deep, burned, mechanical scars. They weren't from war. They were punishment marks. "I don't even remember how that feels," she said. "Freedom." Ryan looked away, giving her privacy. "I need to understand something," he said gently. "What happened to you?" She paused, then looked straight into his eyes. "My name was Commander Kalyra of the 5th Talon Fleet. I commanded 3 warships. My people feared me." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Then how did you end up like this?" Her lips tightened. "I refused to follow an order. I protected half-bloods, the children born from humans and us. Our law said they were impure. Disposable." She looked away. "I called them innocent." Ryan swallowed. "They stripped my rank, my name, said I was infected by human emotion. They put me in a collar and sold me to the trade markets like I was livestock." Silence filled the room. Ryan felt cold. "You were enslaved for showing mercy?" She nodded slowly. "They broke my bones when I fought back. They shattered my wings. Then they left me on that ship, unconscious, headed for another owner." Ryan clenched his fists. "I'm sorry. No one deserves that." Kalyra's eyes softened, just a little. But her voice remained hard. "Your kindness confuses me, human. What is your price?" "I don't have one," he said. She tilted her head. "All males want something. Power, pleasure, obedience." Ryan sighed. "Not all. Some of us just want peace." Kalyra walked slowly to the window. Sunlight touched her face. She looked like a warrior and a ghost at the same time. "You saved me, but you don't own me. So, what now?" Ryan stood up. "Now, you heal, you rest. No one's chasing you here." Kalyra turned to him. "I don't know how to just exist. I was trained to obey or fight, nothing in between." Ryan took a breath. "Then maybe it's time to learn." Kalyra looked confused. "Learn what?" "That you're more than what they told you." Her face broke just a little. A single tear slipped down her cheek. She turned away quickly, embarrassed. "I don't cry," she whispered. "You just did." Ryan replied softly. She sat back down slowly. Her voice dropped lower. "If you do not command me, then give me one thing." Ryan tilted his head. "What?" She looked at him with fierce, hollow eyes. "Give me purpose. Learning to be free." The sun had barely risen when Ryan stepped outside to chop firewood. The air was cool, fresh. He liked mornings like this, before the world remembered it was broken. Inside the cabin, Kalyra stood awkwardly by the door frame, watching him through the screen. She wore a long gray hoodie now, his old one. Her silver skin still shimmered faintly in the light, but her shoulders were stiff, tense, unsure. She held a broom. "I cleaned the floor," she said flatly, "and washed the walls." Ryan blinked. I didn't ask you to do that." "I know," she said, frowning. "But I thought that's what you'd expect." He set down the axe. Kalira, this isn't a military base or a slave ship. You don't have to earn your right to breathe here. She narrowed her eyes. Then why am I still here? He shrugged. Because no one deserves to be thrown away. She looked down, unsure how to process that. No one had ever told her that before. That evening, Ryan handed her a bowl of soup. Kalira stared at the steam rising from it. What is this? She asked. Dinner, he said. You eat it. She sniffed it suspiciously. It smells warm. That's the point, he chuckled. She took a slow sip. Her lips parted in surprise. It has flavor. You've never had soup? In the camps, we were given nutrient paste. Cold, gray. Ryan winced. That's not food. That's survival. Kalira tilted her head. You care about the difference? He looked her dead in the eye. Yeah. You're not surviving anymore, Kalira. You're living now. Days passed. She still didn't sleep much. Still walked the cabin like a prisoner checking escape routes. But slowly, quietly, change began. She asked him questions. What is a joke? Why do humans sit by fires? Why do children laugh even when there is no threat? Ryan always answered. Patiently, honestly, and sometimes he made her laugh too. Her laugh was strange, like she wasn't used to it, like her throat had forgotten how. But Ryan loved that sound. One morning, Kalira followed him outside. Want to learn? She said simply. He looked at her, confused. Learn what? Anything. Everything. I want to be more than what they made me. He handed her the axe. All right. Chop wood. Good place to start. She stared at it, eyes narrowing. This is punishment? He grinned. No, just hard work. She swung once, missed, tried again, then again. The fourth strike cracked the log clean down the middle. She stared at it, shocked. I broke it. You split it, Ryan corrected. That's the good kind of breaking. Her lips curled into a faint smile. I like this. That night. She sat on the couch, legs folded under her. She was calmer now. Her eyes didn't dart around the room like they used to. Her voice didn't always sound like a threat. Ryan was reading when she suddenly said, I had a name before the military. A secret name. He looked up. What was it? I can't tell you, she said. Not until I believe I'm that person again. Ryan nodded. Fair. But for what it's worth? I already see her. She looked away quickly, but her cheeks were glowing, just slightly. Ryan? Yeah? Do you think a broken thing can become beautiful again? He set the book down. I don't think you were ever broken. I think they tried to break you, but you're still standing. That's beautiful to me. She looked at him long and deep. No chains, no orders, no price, just truth. Later that night, she walked outside alone and looked up at the stars. She whispered something in her alien tongue, a name. Her name. It was the first time she'd said it out loud in years, and somehow the stars didn't feel so far away anymore. Enemies from the sky, it was just after midnight when the stars blinked wrong. Ryan was half asleep on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea. Kalira stood beside him, staring at the sky like she always did, silent, still, like a statue built for war and forgotten by peace. Then she froze. Not normal frozen. Predator frozen. What is it? Ryan asked, sitting. Up, she didn't blink. They found me. Ryan stood. Who? Kalira didn't answer. Her eyes locked on a patch of sky that shimmered, just barely. Something was cloaked up there. A faint ripple in the stars, invisible to human eyes, but not hers. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a strange device, one she'd built from broken parts in his garage. It pulsed red. Hunter drone, she said. Scouting class, my old fleet. They've been scanning for my signal. You said the pod exploded. It did, she said. But they don't stop. Not for traitors. By morning, Ryan had locked all the windows, reinforced the doors. His old workshop became a tech lab overnight, filled with alien parts Kilara had secretly recovered from the pod's crash site. You said you were just a commander, he asked while she rewired a panel. I was, she replied. But I also built weapons. He paused. Should I be worried? She smirked, just a little. Only if you plan on betraying me. That evening, Ryan was digging near the pod wreckage, covering any leftover tech. Kalira stood guard nearby, her eyes scanning the tree line. Then, snap, a twig broke. Not far. Ryan turned. You hear that? Before she could answer, a blast of blue energy exploded through the trees, barely missing Ryan's head. Get down, Kalira shouted. She tackled him behind a fallen log just as another pulse hit the dirt beside them. 3 tall, armored figures emerged from the shadows, cloaked in shimmering light, eyes glowing through their helmets. They looked like her, but colder, mechanical, empty. They spoke in her language, sharp, cruel. Ryan didn't understand, but Kalira's face went pale. What are they saying? He asked. They called me a filthy half-lover, she said. They're here to reclaim and erase. Ryan reached for the alien blaster she'd given him earlier. He had barely trained with it. Kalira's voice was hard. Don't hesitate, they won't. He nodded. The fight was fast and dirty. One drone rushed Kalira, blade drawn. She spun and kicked him into a tree. Ryan fired at another, barely missing, but it gave Kalira an opening. She grabbed the drone's helmet and ripped it clean off, revealing pale, scarred skin and empty black eyes. Still proud to serve the Empire? She growled. The last one aimed at Ryan, until Kalira threw a knife straight into its chest. Silence followed. 3 bodies in the dirt, smoke in the air. Ryan's hands trembled. You all right? She asked, breathing hard. He nodded. Yeah, that was close, she finished. She looked at the corpses coldly. No mercy in her eyes. More will come. That night, back at the cabin, Ryan wiped blood off his face while Kalira sat near the fire, arms wrapped around herself. I thought they'd forgotten me, she whispered. I was stupid to hope. Ryan sat beside her. You're not stupid. I brought danger to your home. I should leave. He didn't answer for a second. Then he said, You think I'd just let you walk into that alone? Kalira looked at him, angry, scared, touched. I don't belong here. He reached out, gently touching her shoulder. You do now. Her voice cracked. You don't know what that means in my culture. To fight for someone. He smiled. Then teach me. She stared at him, jaw trembling. You keep doing this, she said. Doing what? Making me believe. I'm not a weapon. Ryan leaned closer. Maybe because I see someone worth protecting, not for what you can do, but who you are. For the first time, she didn't look away. Slave no more. Kalira stood in front of the fire pit, holding the metal collar in her hand. It wasn't glowing anymore. Just cold, black steel. Scarred, dented, dead. Ryan stood a few steps behind her, arms crossed, silent. He knew better than to speak right now. Some moments belonged to pain. Kalira stared at the collar for a long time. Her fingers traced the deep cracks where she had once tried to break it herself. But it never broke. Not until now. She dropped it into the fire. The flames roared as it hit the coals, sparks flying into the night. Kalira's chest rose and fell like a storm was trapped inside her. Then she whispered, barely audible, They put it on me while I slept. Ryan swallowed hard. I woke up with it digging into my skin. It hummed. Always hummed. Reminding me I belonged to someone else. The metal sizzled in the fire. Kalira stared, unblinking. Every time I disobeyed, it shocked my spine, but the worst part wasn't the pain. Ryan leaned in gently. Then what was? She looked at him. Her eyes for once were wet. It made me forget I was real. I wasn't Kalira, I was just Unit Property 7. I didn't speak. I obeyed. I existed. Silence. Only the fire cracked. Then Ryan stepped beside her. You're not Unit anything anymore. She turned her head slowly. What am I now? He took a breath. You're free. Her lip quivered. I don't know how to be that. Ryan looked her in the eyes. Then let's figure it out together. Later that night, Kalira walked through the cabin barefoot. Not checking doors, not calculating. Exits, just walking. She touched the bookshelf, the wooden table, the old radio. Simple things. Human things. Things that didn't exist in the prisons of her past. Ryan was making tea. When she entered the room, he turned and smiled. You okay? She nodded. Can I ask something? She said. Always. She tilted her head. Why didn't you take advantage of me? You had every chance. He raised an eyebrow. You're not an object, Kalira. That never stopped the others. I'm not the others. She stared at him for a long second. Then she did something that made his heart skip. She sat beside him, not like a guest, not like a soldier, just a woman trying to feel normal. I don't know who I am without orders. He handed her a cup of tea. Maybe you're someone who likes mint. She blinked. Sipped. A small smile touched her lips. Maybe. Days passed. Kalira started helping around the cabin, not from fear, but from choice. She fixed Ryan's broken solar panel using alien tech. She showed him how to reinforce the cabin walls with light-absorbing coating. She even started sleeping more, not curled in a corner, but on the couch, blanket pulled to her chin, breathing steady. One morning, Ryan found her humming, just 3 notes, broken, off-key, but still, music. He didn't say anything, but he smiled. That night, a storm hit. Thunder, fumed. The power flickered. Ryan grabbed candles. Kalira lit one using a spark from her fingers. He laughed. Handy trick. She grinned. My one-party skill. Then lightning cracked, and the lights died completely. Kalira stiffened. Her eyes darted to the window. Ryan noticed. You okay? She hesitated. Storms remind me of the mines. They used noise to confuse us, keep us scared. We slept with blindfolds, so we wouldn't see the sparks. Ryan sat down beside her. No mines here. She shook her head. I know, but my body still remembers. Ryan held out his hand. Without a word, she took it. And in that moment, skin to skin, no armor, no masks, something shifted. Not desire, not command, just trust. The storm faded by dawn. The power returned. But Kalira didn't let go of his hand until morning light touched the windows. She looked at him, and in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, I think I'm starting to believe you. Ryan smiled. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. Honor and ashes. The sunrise felt different that morning. Kalira stood barefoot in the dewy grass behind the cabin, her silver skin glowing softly in the light. The air smelled of pine and smoke. In her hands she held a small pile of alien medals, badges of war, symbols of the empire she once served. One by one, she tossed them into the fire pit. Ryan watched from the porch. He didn't say anything, because he understood. This wasn't just her burning metal. She was bearing the part of herself that had survived only through fear. Later, inside the cabin, Kalira knelt beside a piece of earth paper, carefully sketching symbols, her own language. I'm rewriting my war record, she said. Ryan tilted his head. Why? So if they find my body one day, they'll know I died free. Not as Unit Property 7, not as a traitor, but as Kalira. Ryan sat beside her. You're not gonna die. She looked up, eyes sharp. You still don't understand, do you? She said. This isn't over. The Empire doesn't forgive. They erase. As if fate heard her. An alert beeped on the stolen scanner Kalira had hidden in the closet. She ran to it, heart pounding. Ryan followed. What is it? Her hands trembled over the controls. Transmission detected. High-frequency burst, not a drone, a command vessel. Ryan's stomach dropped. They're here? Kalira looked up, voice low. No, not yet, but they're close. A day, maybe 2. Ryan gritted his teeth. We can run. Kalira shook her head. It won't matter. They'll track me across systems if they must. Silence fell. Then Ryan stood. Then we don't run. We make them. Work for it. She blinked. You're a mechanic. He grinned. With a very angry shotgun and an ex-war commander under his roof. That counts for something. They spent the day building. Kalira reprogrammed the land's energy signature to look abandoned. Ryan set up makeshift traps, rewired old tech and reinforced every inch of the cabin. But it wasn't just battle prep. It was something else. Kalira smiled more. Not because she had to, because she wanted to. She taught Ryan to speak a few words, in her language. Koshari, she said, touching her heart. What does that mean? He asked. She hesitated, then whispered. Someone I would die for. He didn't speak. He didn't need to, because his hand reached for hers, and this time, she didn't pull away. That night, they stood under the stars. Kalira looked up, her voice quiet. When I was a child, I thought stars were gods. Ryan raised a brow. What changed? I met humans, she said softly, and realized, sometimes the gods are the ones who bleed first. He laughed gently. We do that a lot. She looked at him. Really looked. You've given me more in these few weeks than the Empire did in a lifetime. He took a step closer. I didn't give you anything. You took it back. You rebuilt yourself. She tilted her head. Then why do you still stand beside me? His voice was calm, steady. Sure, because your fight became mine. At dawn, the sky cracked open. A low hum filled the air. Invisible at first, but Kalira felt it in her bones. She turned to Ryan. They're here. He didn't flinch. Then we're ready. She nodded, but her eyes held something more than fear. They held something sacred, not panic purpose. She slipped a strange metal ring onto his finger. A final piece of tech from her wrecked pod. What's this? Life signal tag, she said. If I fall, it masks your biosignal so they won't hunt you too. Ryan stared at it. Wait. You think you're going alone? She smiled, but there was sadness in it. I started this. I won't let them take your world for my sins. He grabbed her arm, firm. You think you're walking into fire alone? Not happening. Her lip trembled. You don't owe me anything. I know, he said. That's what makes it real. Rise of the bonded, the ship descended like a shadow eating the sky. It didn't roar. It hummed like a cold machine that knew it was superior. Black metal, sharp edges, floating without wings. The Empire's flag pulsed across its hull like a heartbeat made of war. Ryan and Kalira stood on the ridge above the cabin, staring at it. She wore armor now, scratched, mismatched pieces she had rebuilt herself. A final echo of the commander she once was, but this time there was no collar. And she wasn't fighting for orders, she was fighting for home. Below, the ship opened. 5 soldiers stepped out, taller than Ryan, faces hidden behind glowing helmets. They moved like wolves, precise, silent, deadly. One of them, the lead, spoke in Kalira's language Ryan didn't understand, but he saw her flinch. What did he say? He asked. She clenched her fists. He called me a memory that needs deleting. Ryan cracked his knuckles. Let's make this memory bite back. The first wave came fast. A blast of red light tore the ground. Ryan dived, rolled behind a tree. Kalira leapt forward like lightning, spinning midair, her blade slicing through energy shields. One soldier dropped. His helmet split open. Sparks flew. The others adjusted. But so did she. Ryan distracted them with firecrackers wired to battery packs, a trick she had laughed at days ago. Now, it saved her life. Kalira moved like smoke and storm. Every hit precise, every dodge perfect. But then, she stumbled. One soldier stabbed her side. She gasped, falling to her knees. No, Ryan screamed, running toward her. The last enemy aimed at her exposed back. Ryan didn't think. He moved. Bang. The sound wasn't from the enemy. It was from him. He had fired Kalira's blaster. The shot struck the soldier clean through the chest. Silence followed. Then, thud. The last body hit the dirt. Ryan dropped the blaster and fell beside Kalira. Her blood shimmered silver in the dirt. No, 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 stay with me, he said, voice cracking. She reached up, touching his cheek. You protected me, she whispered. You saved me first, he choked. Kalira smiled, weak. I told you. Koshari means someone I'd die for. He grabbed her hand. Then you're not allowed to die. She laughed. Bossy human. And then, her breathing slowed. Ryan held her tight. He thought he'd lost her, until a low beep came from the ring on his finger. She had linked it to her vitals. She was alive. Just barely. 3 days later. Kalira woke in Ryan's bed, bandaged, sore, but breathing. He sat beside her, eyes full of light and worry. You made it, she whispered. You scared the hell out of me, he replied. She smiled. Did I fight well? You were terrifying, he said. Like a goddess with a grudge. She laughed weakly. You're not my slave, he said again, softly. Kalira turned to him. I know. He held up something in his hand. Her old command. Insignia. Burned, broken, but cleaned. I figured you should decide what happens to this now. She stared at it, then shook her head. Keep it, she said, to remember who I was. Ryan looked at her. And who are you now? She sat up slowly, eyes glowing faintly. I don't know yet, but this time, I'll choose. That evening, as the stars returned to their rightful places, Kalira stepped outside with Ryan. Her hand found his naturally. No orders. No chains. Just choice. I want to build something here, she said. A home? He asked. She nodded. A future. He looked at her, a smile creeping across his face. With me? Her voice didn't waver. With you. And as the stars shimmered above, two beings, one born from war, the other from kindness, stood side by side, not as master and slave, not as soldier and savior, but as bonded souls rising from ashes, together.